On this Thanksgiving, silver was relatively quiet and tranquil. But overnight, it was a different tale. I'll describe what occurred then and what we can anticipate next as we examine. That's correct, a pleasant, peaceful day for silver as the U.S. exchanges were not operating for the Thanksgiving break. Happy Thanksgiving to one and all. And I tell you, it has been a fairly captivating journey for silver. And it's actually very positive news that we're noticing silver pretty much remain where it is. Part of me was anticipating that we may witness a retreat, some profit taking overnight and into the trading day and other exchanges, but that has not occurred. In fact, silver's value surged up fairly sharply, almost touching $54 an ounce overnight. We'll discuss that in a moment. So what's happening with silver today on this holiday? Well, silver values have prolonged this week's recovery on Thursday, revisiting last month's all-time high in dollar terms and approaching the most valuable against gold bullion in almost 18 months as Thanksgiving 2025 saw Russia's President Putin label the U.S. peace proposal for Ukraine a serious offer. So that is pretty compelling. And another remarkable thing is that we're still observing silver values remain elevated and gold's values remain elevated as well, too. Now, the other thing is we're examining copper as a base metal. It's predicted to display a global shortage of supply versus demand in 2026, slipped back from a new 4-week peak, while crude oil climbed further from Tuesday's 5-week lows. This implies that likely there will be attempts to try to extract copper and silver as a secondary product of copper. Well, we could begin to witness fresh efforts to deliver more silver into the marketplace. Silver has not massively surpassed gold, but its firmer advances have expanded without the high, soaring reputation assigned to perhaps the more prestigious of the two precious metals. According to an article at Reuters, one of the globe's top 750 most visited sites has stated silver topped within 10 cents per troy ounce of $54 an ounce, some 50 cents under mid-November's trial of October's all-time high, before setting around $53.35 in London's midday session. Right now, silver's value rests at $53.36. Here is what we're observing. But that's trading that is now closed in London, down only 4 cents from the prior trading day, and it did climb as high as $53.95. That is pretty near forming a triple top. We had a double top, and we very well could witness that a triple top actually peaks out above that $54.50. We're 55 cents short of that right now as of the recording of this video. So overall, the exchanges ended fairly subdued in London trading, with gold bullion trading near $4,150. That placed the gold to silver ratio now at about 78. In fact, precisely, it's 78.05. So that is 2 ounces lower than the 80, which has been our kind of standard here. And I believe it's thrilling to notice that silver is really kind of breaking out here to display that strength. Pretty astonishing indeed. And the silver that you see before you here is largely kind of discolored, in various areas in various ways. This piece I kind of kept on my desk, kind of darkening. Silver does not decay or oxidize, but it does tarnish. And some of that tarnishing can be appealing. Other times, not like this salivate metal round. It's quite tarnished here. It almost appears kind of grimy, but it is not. That's just some of the shading on it. And I want you to tell me, should I dip this or attempt to clear off the tarnishing or restore it to its original shine? Let me know in the comments section down below. A lot of the tarnishing that occurs naturally, I think, is kind of neat in certain ways. It kind of provides personality to it. Nonetheless, prior to this spring's jump in safe haven gold's relative worth against silver amid the stock exchange slump following the trade tariff declarations that happened back in April, the ratio would have never traded above 100 outside of World War II and the global economic downturn of 1992 and the COVID outbreak, where it rose as high as 126 to 1. But here we are now, according to Adrian Ash. So that's where we're examining there. And the fourth quarter is typically peak period for solar setups, and that's according to what Bloomberg is reporting. I'm going to be discussing that in a future video because there are some major things occurring with regards to that and what's unfolding in other markets. That's all I'll state about that. But if we look and notice what's happening with geopolitics and the U.S. peace initiative in general, We agree that this can be the foundation for future settlements, according to what the president of Russia, Putin, told journalists during a press briefing in the adjacent nation of Kazakhstan, but pushing again to seize regions of Ukraine not yet under Russian control. And speaking of Brussels, securities custodian Euroclear resisted EU intentions to seize Russian frozen holdings to help fund Kyiv's military. Ukrainian forces will need to depart the territories they presently occupy, and then the conflict will cease, Putin continued. If they don't, we will accomplish this by military methods. So there's still some sticking issues here, and it still stays strained, and we'll see what occurs through all of this. But geopolitics and internal politics, any kind of politics, will influence other areas as well in terms of market situations, perceived market situations. In other words, how exchanges respond to something more intensely than it should be. Overreaction or underreaction can influence silver's value in a big way. So that's what we're going to be monitoring. What happens next? Now, what would occur if we did receive an announcement of a preliminary peace accord between Russia and Ukraine next week? Well, I think it will push gold and silver values downward. Maybe not drastically because a lot of the essentials are still in place there, but I do think it will have an effect. And in part, that may be what we're witnessing unfold, at least to a very, very slight degree here, with gold and silver values being down marginally. By the way, the platinum group metals are rising for both platinum and palladium. Rhodium has not shifted today in the trading at all. But nonetheless, that's what we're observing with silver. And it's kind of compelling, fascinating, as we watch these exchanges barely shift today. A calm day is a positive day because we are now working on essentially our 9th day of trading. If you count the London and Asian exchanges open, 9th day above $50 an ounce. We are matched for a record. If we can maintain and notice that same kind of motion to where it holds above $50 an ounce, even if it goes back and drops $3.36 now, which would be a massive Friday crash, as long as it holds above 50, we can celebrate another record for silver. Why is this so crucial? It is crucial because when you think about $50 silver, that's a very, very strong emotional number that we technically did not hit, according to some analysts, in 2011 and in 1980. Although some claim it was in the futures exchange where it did jump above that briefly both times. Essentially, it was extremely short. Certainly, we didn't have 9 to 10 days of it. And so, if we see the 10th day of silver trading above $50 an ounce, that will be a very positive thing. We're going to observe what occurs next in terms of the next 24 hours with regard to silver and its value, because I think that $50 is so crucial. And the more days we witness it above $50, the more we are going to observe the possibility of a new support for silver being above that $50 an ounce. And by extension, I don't mention a whole lot about gold these days, but the same could apply well for gold, too, being above $4,000 an ounce. That's pretty noteworthy. But gold has steadily been trading at an all-time high when adjusted for inflation. Silver still has a lot of distance to advance before it is trading above inflation highs. Right now, we're above nominal highs for the most part. We're getting very close to it again, but we still have about $20 to advance before we witness it trade above all-time record highs. $20 is not a lot, but then again, it wasn't too terribly long ago when silver was only $20 an ounce. So keep that in viewpoint, and especially when we notice gold trading in one day with values that could be well above the actual spot value of silver, it kind of places things in viewpoint here. And that has irritated some silver stackers. But I say, hold on, hold firm to silver. Stay with it. Silver's going to have its moment. And truly, it is having its moment. It's performing quite well. And through it all, no matter what, maintain a core silver stash that you cling to tightly. You hold on to it tight with a clenched fist, folks. That is having diamond fists for your silver. Yes, indeed. So there you have it. Let me know what your opinions are about the silver marketplace today. A calm day to commemorate. I'm grateful for silver, and I'm grateful for you as a viewing audience. With that being said, I'd like to extend a multitude of appreciation to each and every one of you for taking the time to watch, and I urge you to please rate, share, comment, and subscribe.
Don't forget to like our video and subscribe for our channel.